So we led with the Kyrie news. How is New York City handling the Kyrie Irving saga in the next couple days here? Do you think
it's weird because it's obviously a huge story, and every time we talk about it on the show, it gets reaction. But the Nets are not nearly as important as the Knicks. So in order to really make it an important story for New York City, you have to weave the Knicks in somehow. That he's put them on the list, but I don't think the Knicks want any part of him. They didn't even want him if it was to get Kevin Durant. So I think that was floated by Kyrie Irving's camp just to put some pressure on the Nets. But I think this one time, Rich, the Nets are not going to succumb to the pressure. They want to have a contract that they have a little leverage themselves, that Kyrie actually has to play to earn the money. And Kyrie wants a fully guaranteed max contract. And I think therein lies the rub, as they say.
Well, the rub essentially might be is the leverage that Kyrie has, the best leverage that Kyrie has, is that if the Nets do let him walk or agree to a sign and trade, as the New York Daily News reported this very morning, his leverage is that Durant might get pissed. That might be his best leverage. And then they got nothing left, right?
That's his only leverage. And because I have a lot of respect for Sean Marks, and he's a pretty smart guy.
Right.
And Joe Tsai's pretty bright. Don't you think they've probably talked this through with Durant? Because Durant hasn't said anything publicly about this. So if Durant tells them, listen, if you get rid of this guy, I'm going, well, then they have to give in to Kyrie, because then they would be starting from square one all over again. They would be a bad team, because there's no way that they would get equal talent for either of those guys. Now, they probably could get a decent deal for Durant, who signed that extension, and he doesn't have that much leverage himself. They could trade him wherever they want for the best deal. So he doesn't get to say, I want to go to the Lakers or I want to go to this team or that team. He's got to go where they send him, so he has to be careful as well. So they hold a little leverage there, but I don't think that's going to frighten him all that much, because the leverage that a player like Durant holds is he could say, well, I'm not playing. I'm taking my ball and walking away. So it's interesting. It is really interesting, and I'm sure the Nets are probably sorry they ever got themselves into this, because, Rich, you watched the way they were building their team up. They were fun. Atkinson was putting together a gritty team, and all of a sudden, they opened up these two max cap spaces, and they got them, which is what any team would do. But who knew the drama that would come with it? I mean, we thought the only drama was going to be, okay, Durant's going to be out for a year as he rehabs the Achilles. But we didn't think that the real drama was going to be Kyrie.
Well, I guess Celtics fans didn't make their voices heard then, or Cavs fans, right? Because they'll tell you that Kyrie was occasionally not worth the trouble. I mean, Cavs fans maybe not, because they got the championship and they were kind of stunned. Like, you remember when we were stunned that Kyrie wanted to leave LeBron, and we're like, what's up with that? And we were all sort of looking at it's LeBron's fault that he was just too controlling. Now I think we learn the other side of the coin. It's Kyrie. What are you hearing? I guess I know we're entering the scuttlebutt front here, but it just seems to me that there's an iceberg in Brooklyn, and we're seeing just the tip of it. I mean, is there something up behind the scenes more than we know with Kyrie?
No, I just think that Kyrie, Rich, is a man of his own convictions, and he certainly marches to the beat of his own drum. He's different than other people. He's different than other players. And, one of the things that makes me laugh when they say, well, he wants to go to the Lakers, but the most they could give him is $6 or $7 million. This is a guy who gladly gave up $17 million since he didn't want to get the shot. And then the year before that, he couldn't find it within himself to play during the social unrest in the country. I'm sure all of us felt it, and we all went to work, but Kyrie didn't. And that's just Kyrie. Kyrie just thinks differently. So you could actually apply some admiration toward it, or you could say, that's just not right, because when you're part of a team, you can make that stand, and you're affecting more than yourself. You're affecting 14 other guys in the whole organization. I think that's what finally got to the Nets. The vaccination thing, I mean, that is so third rail in this country right now, so you don't even talk whether or not he should have gotten it or not. But the year before, I think, is what really scares the Nets. He just wasn't of the mindset to play and just walked away. I mean, that's pretty big stuff. You just walk away and you leave your team high and dry. So Kyrie's beliefs and his belief system, that might be something that cost the Nets 2 possible championships. Really, if you think about it, if he had played all year this year, they would have been a much better team. And although the Celtics still might have beaten them, they might not have played the Celtics in that round, and they sure as heck would not have gotten swept.